You have to be a writer or have writing experience to write a six-figure ebook. As my grandmother would say, that's a lie and there's no truth in it. You don't need to be a writer, have writing experience, or take writing classes to write a six-figure ebook. What you do need is to be able to break free of these 4 destructive habits. I've written ebooks and print books that have made me thousands of dollars, and in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 destructive habits that have stopped you from writing your ebook, launch your first digital product, and I'm going to share with you exactly how you can break free of these 4 destructive habits. Before we start talking about the 4 habits, I want to share with you the mindset you need to have going into breaking these habits. There's a lot of talk out, and you've probably heard it about, it takes typically 30 days to break a habit. It takes 30 days to form a habit. They say it takes 30 days to break a habit. And that's probably true. But the reality is you have habits that you've formed over years, decades, and maybe even your entire life. So is it possible that you can break a habit in 30 days? Yes. But is it likely? No. Think about habits that you've broken in the past. You might have started out breaking that habit, and you might have had to take 2, 3, 4 tries before you actually broke the habit. So I don't want you to go into this thinking that this is going to be some 30-day thing that you can quickly do. It might be, but you have to go into this with the right mindset that it might take more than 30 days. But what you need to do is make the commitment to break these 4 habits. And if you make that commitment, it doesn't matter if it takes 30 days or 60 days. Just make the commitment to break these 4 destructive habits. All right, let's get to talking about these habits. One of the first habits you need to break is the habit of jumping into writing right away. So you have an idea and you just sit down and you start writing. And that's something you probably developed from the time of being in school, probably since high school, maybe even elementary school. That's usually where these habits are formed. What you really want to do is you want to sit down and start an outlining process. And when you do that, outlining what you're doing allows you to define the purpose of your writing. It allows you to define your reader, and it allows you to define the structure of your writing. Because without those 3 elements, you could be writing for anybody, and you are allowing yourself to talk about things or bring things or topics into your ebook that really aren't relevant for your reader. So take the time to sit down and outline. And I usually spend about 30, maybe even up to 60 minutes to go through this process of outlining to make sure that the writing that I'm about to do, it has a purpose. I want to make sure that I'm thinking about my reader or the person who's going to purchase my ebook, and I'm going to give it some kind of writing structure. Am I talking about tips or lessons or steps or case stories or mistakes? There are several structures that you could put into your writing, and you want to include this or think about this when you're sitting down and you're going through the outlining process. And like I said, take maybe 30 minutes and probably even 60 minutes. Don't rush the process. Just make sure you give at least 30 to 60 minutes to get this done. And one of the ways I get this done is by creating what I call a focus title. A focus title makes sure that I include my reader. It also makes sure that I define the purpose of my writing, and it also makes sure that I have a structure around my writing. This next habit is the habit of writing, just your writing habit in general. When you were in elementary school, high school, college, you were primarily writing book reports and essays. Book reports, of course, you read a book and you're asked to summarize that book, maybe hit a couple of points about the book. And essays pretty much is just your opinion and what you think about a particular topic. Book reports and essays, that's a totally different type of writing than writing an ebook. Ebooks are designed to inform, and they're designed to inform, solve a problem, but solve that problem for a specific person. You're not writing something broad or something general. You're writing something that's very narrow, that's very focused, and is focused toward a specific person. So part of the reason that it's so difficult for you to finish your ebook or even sit down to craft your ebook is you're bringing in your habit of writing book reports and essays and the way you were taught to write book reports and essays. Those methods don't work for writing ebooks. It's a totally different way of writing, and you have to be aware of that so that you can break that habit. And one of the ways you can break that habit is, as I mentioned earlier, by what I call creating a focus title. A focus title will make sure that you address your reader and make sure you have a purpose for your writing, and it'll make sure you give your writing structure. It'll make sure that everything that needs to go into your ebook will go into your ebook. It will create a sense of clarity in your ebook. It'll make sure that your writing is tight and concise. It'll leave out all of the fluff. It'll give your reader, your buyer, exactly what they want. This next habit is a habit that nearly every entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur that I speak to has a problem with this same habit. And that's the habit of they always are trying to find time to write instead of making time to write. And this particular habit really isn't your fault. It's due to what what you're hearing on the internet, YouTube, and social media, with all of these claims that you can write an ebook in 5 minutes or 2 hours or a day. Or I even saw a claim the other day on, I can't remember where, but it was some guy was talking about AI can write an ebook in 2 minutes. Think about that. If AI could write an ebook in 2 minutes, what it can, given that you give it the correct prompts, but you still have to put the prompts and the information in there. That's not going to take you 2 minutes. It's going to take you a lot longer to develop what's needed to give AI the input so that you can get the output that you want. That's going to take much more than 2 minutes. So you have to go into this thing thinking that instead of me just sitting down and flippantly sitting down for 5-10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day to find time to write, you need to make time. You need to take this seriously. You need to schedule time during your day or your evening to make sure that you respect this process. This is very serious. If you don't do this, it's likely that you will never find the time. You'll never find the time to write your ebook. You have to make this time. Treat it seriously. Put it on your calendar. And one of the things that I've done to break this habit for me, because I suffered from this habit in the past, is I look at my time. Am I a morning person or an evening person? And depending on, what you have going on in your life, if you have children, then you might want to write early in the morning before they wake up, or you might want to write in the evenings. And you also want to think about, when do you have your most energy? When are you most energetic? When are you most, alive and awake and have the energy to put into your writing? And the other thing is, you want to at least take at least an hour. Now, you'll hear people talk about, you just need 15 minutes to write, 30 minutes to write in a day. Once again, it's possible. But if you sit down to write and you haven't trained yourself to do this regularly, then 30 minutes is not going to be enough. It's going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to get your mind right, to get your thoughts activated, to begin the writing process. So at least give yourself 60 minutes a day. That shouldn't be hard to find. There are 24 hours in a day. You can certainly find 60 minutes to devote to yourself, to take the proper time to sit down, get your thoughts together. Probably take 10 minutes to do that, and then you have at least 50 minutes to write. 30 minutes is possible, but in a scheme of things, I'm being real with you. It's not likely that 30 minutes is going to be enough for you until you train yourself to do this regularly, and then your mind will become used to sitting down and getting right into the process of writing. But initially, give yourself 60 minutes. Once you control your time, you can control your future. So if you're serious about turning your knowledge into income and you're ready to write a 6-figure ebook with stuff you already know like the back of your hand, click on the link in the description below. And before you know it, you have huge numbers, good news, and 5-star reviews like what you see on your screen right now. Okay, back to our habits. I can talk about this habit here from personal experience more so than all the other habits. This particular habit here had me stumped for years. It's the habit of what I call beginning and never ending. It's basically you jumping from idea to idea. Every few weeks or every few days, you sit down, you start writing, and you see a new trend, or somebody tells you, mentions a new idea, and you run off to that new idea, or you chase that new trend, or that new shiny object. What happens is you never allow yourself to complete anything. You're always going to the next thing. That is almost a guarantee you're never going to finish your ebook. You're never going to find that solution to that problem that your reader is desperate for, because you're always chasing the next new thing, or what people are calling the next new thing, because nobody really knows what that is. So you have to sit down and you have to come up with an idea of something, a problem that you solved that is valuable to the marketplace, and stick to it and just trust that it's something that's valuable. And you can always tell it's something valuable because it's something that you hear people asking about. It's typically something that people come to you and ask your opinion about multiple times, and you give them the solution to it. That's a key. That's a clue that you have something valuable in the marketplace, and you just need to take the time to sit down and put that into an ebook and package it and get it ready to offer to a buyer or your potential reader. There's no more guesswork. There's no more spinning your wheels. Now you have clarity. Now the next step is simple. Now that you know the 4 destructive habits that have kept you from writing your ebook, if you're ready to write that 6-figure ebook, click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.